I began to become involved with environmental art when I moved to Los Angeles after living near these gorgeous beaches for 9 years. I moved to Venice Beach, and the beach was just littered with trash. I mean, littered with it. And I couldn't understand how that had suddenly become acceptable and that people would just walk by it. And I used to just collect the trash, and I'd bring it back to like 7-Eleven. I would pick up their styrofoam cups and stack them up. I must have looked like a real weirdo. And then I would walk into 7-Eleven and hand it to the manager and say, "You got a problem?" And they just looked at me like I was completely insane. I kept some of the stuff that I thought was really kind of fun and interesting. It was about 8 years, and I just suddenly had this epiphany, or I don't even know what to call it, where just this explosion, creative explosion. I'm a graphic designer by profession, so I was really missing working with my hands, and I had all this trash in the garage, and I just started making things, and it kind of steamrolled from there. Somebody introduced me to the founder of 5 Gyres, which is a group that's researching plastic pollution in the marine environment, and they got me a show right away at one of their fundraisers. That was the incentive, and I just started working with a lot of groups like 5 Gyres and Heal the Bay, which is a huge advocacy group in Los Angeles. I mean, the plastic, it wasn't just totally unsightly, which it was. It's how it was hurting the marine animals. There were a lot of wildlife was getting caught in fishing wire, plastic containers, rings. There's a turtle called Mae West, and it was found with a ring from a bottle around its waist, and it just grew into the ring. I mean, there's stories like that every day, thousands of them. I got to know about an artist called Chris Jordan. He took photographs of albatross in Midway Atoll. They're dying in large numbers because of the plastic. The mother is ingesting plastic, washed up plastic, and feeding it to her young. And they're just stunning creatures, and that was it. That was kind of the real incentive for me to keep going, and it's just kind of steamrolled from there. When I started making art out of pollution or washed up trash, and I started getting a lot of requests to be in Trashion shows or fashion shows, and I just thought, well, I'll just do a whole collection. So I call this collection Beach Couture A Hot Mess. And it's just been a fantastic vehicle to kind of bring the issue to the public. People love fashion. I love fashion. I think I'm a frustrated fashion designer, actually. And it's, sometimes it's covered in crud. And I've found men's underwear that have been at the bottom of the ocean for however long. People think the pieces are really beautiful, and I want them to think about more than that. I want them to walk away thinking, wow, that's really kind of disgusting. It's a very simple concept. It's about the fact that humans are using way more resources than the earth provides. It's just about simplifying, thinking about when you buy things, buying the least packaged thing you can find. If it's in glass, buy it in glass. If you can grow your own, even better. If you can reuse takeaway containers or bring your own containers, ask for, make sure you don't get a straw. Just think about where it's going to end up down the road. It's just really shopping with a conscience. My message is really about how we can make a change, make a difference. It sounds very cliche. However, the only thing that can happen is we can make changes to our lifestyle. And it's very simple to do that. The group 5 Gyres that I mentioned earlier are working on producer manufacturer responsibilities, so that the manufacturers of the products have to figure out how to take that packaging back, which I think is brilliant. They have successfully banned things like microbeads, which you find in your facial scrubs, toothpaste, etc. So it's just important that people sort of connect themselves to this issue and that we can make a difference. I think as artists we have a really unique position to reach a large group of people. Art can certainly change a culture. I mean, you think back on like Vietnam and the songs that were written and the photographers who took amazing pictures, so people really knew what was going on, and that might have stopped the war. Art can definitely connect people to any issue or a problem that needs fixing, and I think it's just a fantastic vehicle to use. That's really my main goal.